There we go. That's not music yet. There we go. Hello and welcome once again to Super Connectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me as always is the man behind the scenes,
Phil, me, and Perich.
That's the man. Hey, Philip. So glad you're here with me once again to discuss all the connections that are fit to super here on Super Connectivity. Okay. So, small thing. Well, maybe not a small thing. We got the official Incredibles 2 trailer this week. And, yeah, I liked it. What do you think, Phil?
I just watched it a couple minutes ago. It was very interesting with Elastigirl back on the scene. And,
yeah.
Oh. And I forget. I'm drawing a blank.
Mr. Incredible.
Mr. Incredible, stay-at-home dad. Yeah.
Yeah, stay-at-home dad, Mr. Incredible. Because not all heroes wear capes. No capes. Well, no. Actually, what I like about it on a couple of levels. One is, and it's kind of weird because you think about how far out these things are planned, and you just see this idea that how is Disney just right in the middle of everything, just capturing the zeitgeist of making it about Elastigirl, about Mrs. Incredible, if you will. You know, even having the big Elon Musky CEO be like, we need to bring superheroes back. We need Elastigirl, because Mr. Incredible, not what they're looking for. They want a strong female lead. And then of course you get the nice domestic drama with Mr. Incredible, and we have Dash making the statement that I must fight crime. It's who I am. That's it's cute. One of the things I like best about this is we open up with the Underminer.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the Mole Man?
Well, no, he's the Underminer.
I know.
He's not the Mole Man. He's the Underminer. And what I like, there's a couple things I really like about this. First, that they're going to pick up, hopefully, right where we left off in the last film. And we get this thing where even though Mr. and Mrs. Incredible, or Mr. and Mrs. Elastigirl, perhaps, Elastilady, Elastiwoman, even though they're superheroes and their kids are superheroes too, they're still parents. And they tell them to wait on the sidelines to watch Jack as they go in to go do battle. Additionally, what I liked in that was the fact that apparently the Underminer is an established supervillain, because there is a line in there where Mr. Incredible makes a statement, we do this every time, which is neat because it kind of suggests that the Underminer basically has been waiting for the heroes to return. And he knew that the heroes had returned based on, the news reports, and so got himself ready to make his big triumphant return. Which makes me wonder if the Underminer is going to be more central to the story. Now, it's interesting. The Underminer is voiced by who? Who is in every single Pixar film?
Oh, who is it?
John Ratzenberger.
Oh, yeah.
Cliff the Mailman. Speaking of which, I recently got reminded of a great scene in the film House. You ever saw that? John Ratzenberger plays the repairman in that.
It's been so
long,
but yeah.
Okay, well, there's a great scene where basically he says, what you got there is your basic pan-dimensional portal there. And then when the guy goes into the portal to go rescue the lady, and then John Ratzenberger, in classic John Ratzenberger fashion, he goes, here we go. And he opens up his toolbox, and he's got a big saber in there, and he runs in. It's a great scene. The moment we realize John Ratzenberger, he can do anything. which is why he's the star of every Pixar film, sort of. But it's interesting. Excuse me. It's interesting to see this, to see them focusing on that female-led superhero drama, and it'll be interesting how they both play with and subvert it. Because we're obviously seeing that it's going to be this thing where, Mr. Incredible, he wants to support his wife, in the same way that she supported him when he was going out and being a superhero. And however, of course, she didn't have to deal with Jack Jack. And Jack Jack is clearly a handful. There was a great thing I remember listening to where the guy who wrote the original Incredibles was saying about how he came up with all the powers. And they were all based on personalities. He was saying, when I think about dads, I think about strength, and that guy who's just carrying the weight of the world on his shoulder, the dad. And moms who just have to be everywhere and stretch and do everything at the same time. And then, teenage girls want to disappear, and, preteen boys are just so full of energy. And Jack Jack, what is Jack Jack? Jack Jack is unlimited potential. That's why he doesn't just have one power. He has whatever power he has at that moment. It'll be interesting to see if he sort of grows into one set of powers as he ages, or will he be like Franklin Richards, just, I can do anything because I'm the child of Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible. And that's the question we're going to have to find out in Incredibles 2, coming to a theater next summer, this summer, some summer.
This summer.
I'm excited, Phil. This summer, I think so, too. Any thoughts on your end on this?
What?
Any thoughts on your end on
this? No, I can't wait to see it. It seems like it's been forever.
Yeah. No, I know this. We have. Although, from their perspective, it was a very short time.
Yeah.
So, now one question that's interesting here. Again, we have a tycoon villain, maybe? Guy who's doing this, is he the villain? That's the question. Is he Syndrome returned with plastic surgery? We don't know yet. And it's interesting. It's an interesting question, if they're going back to that well. And that's the first thing I see. Because the second you have billionaire industrialist manipulating superheroes, is this another Syndrome, or is this guy just Syndrome plus? Is he Lex Luthor, and heroes are just a means to an end?
Unless it's like a plot twist where you think it's like another, rich guy supervillain, then all of a sudden it turns around, it's like, no, that's not the main villain. It's somebody, it's somebody else, or
it was the Underminer the whole time.
Exactly.
Ha ha ha! You watch John Ratzenberger. He's gonna be central to this plot. Mark my words. The Underminer will be central to the plot of Incredibles 2. Oh, and speaking of things that are 2 and villains who are central to the plot, did you read Marvel 2-in-1?
Yes, I did.
Yes. That was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
On a lot of weird ways, it was interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about this latest randomized genius lady character. I mean, granted, I get she's filling a specific niche. They needed a character that could fit a niche who was somewhat supervillainy, but they didn't want to have to go a supervillain route.
Yes.
I get that. What's weird to me on this is that she is not... Yeah, I guess one of the things I always come back to whenever they introduce a new character is I always like to ask, was there an existing Marvel Universe character they could have put in here that could have, tickled my nerd spot? And I'd like to think it would have been. I don't know who it might have been at this point, but I'd like to think there was some lady evil Marvel scientist, who could have filled that role. Although, again, another weird thing for me, why can't lady scientists ever have distinguished gray temples? I mean, really, you think about that. Most of these other super scientists, they all the male super scientists, they're allowed to age, they're allowed to have different body types.
I mean, all gray might be one thing, but gray at the temples, maybe they're just afraid that people would just be like, oh, well, that's a female Reed Richards, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, they need one, and we need a Reed Richards. There's one thing that the final scene reveal told us. Well, not the final scene reveal. That final, I got stuff to say about the final scene in this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no. Just no on that final scene.
But you're talking about the next to last one about what they revealed about the powers of the Fantastic Four.
Well, no, not that. That was an interesting take. It's not unprecedented. There is nerd establishment for this idea, actually, because there was a abandoned plot line years ago where they come across the Super Apes and Red Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that the Red Ghost is kind of like in a catatonic state, almost animalistic, and the Super Apes are suddenly super intelligent.
Oh, yes.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah. And what you get this idea is that their powers sort of seeped between each other. Later that same issue, you get Johnny Storm talking like Reed Richards, and people say, hey, you're talking like Reed Richards, Johnny Storm. I wonder if this is what we call dramatic foreshadowing. But then I think they changed writers, and then they never shadowed that for. But yeah, so there is this established idea of the connection of the characters, though immediately that raises in my mind the question, how does Sharon Ventura fit into that?
That's what I was just thinking about. But remember, after a while, when Sharon Ventura was a thing, Ben Grimm lost his powers. So maybe somehow Sharon Ventura kind of like her energy, she like linked up with the other three. I don't know. But then
are her powers having problems? And along those same lines, losing your powers, isn't there maybe something to be said that, shouldn't Ben Grimm be like, wait, you're saying I might lose my powers entirely? Like I might become Ben Grimm?
Well, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, maybe Ben's feeling really guilty. Be like, hey, you know what? This is everything I've ever wanted. But if our friends are out there.
Yeah, well, of course, that's always his excuse.
Yeah, oh yeah, my friends need me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the truth of Ben Grimm is he doesn't, which fun we touch on again in Avengers this week, or was it last week? With Red Hulk, when his hour of power wears out, and he's going through all the problems he has because he went through his hour of power, and they ask him, well, why don't you just stop being a Hulk? And he looks at them and says, would you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth of it, is like, would you stop being the Hulk if you could be the Hulk? It's being a Hulk. Who doesn't want to be a Hulk? Exactly. He's a Hulk. They're great.
As long as you don't have like banner issues, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, banner issues. Yeah. Oh, and that's our second issue of the other issue is, gee, I wonder who's buried under there.
What, in Nevada? I wonder.
Yeah, I wonder who that could be. No.
Well, they said he's coming back. He's coming back. There it is.
Yeah. Abdi. But what do you think about our revealed alternate Grandmaster?
I don't know. It's interesting because he's like, he was like the Grandmaster's brother, and they were like fighting over the name and.
Yeah, well, because what it is,
he got knocked out, and he lost. He got knocked out of the universe, and then I guess got let in after Secret Wars.
Yeah, because he had to be out of the universe until the universe ended. It did, and it started again. As it does. Now, one wonders why any of the other dozen times the universe ended and got reformed, he didn't show up. Don't overthink it.
Maybe it wasn't a complete. Yeah, but every other time, was it a complete? Well, yeah.
No, it was just a local universal ending.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, so he had to be the end of all things, I guess. Is the idea. So he's back and he wants his title back, which is such a weird thing. I don't know. it's weird that the Grandmaster like went through this whole thing for the title.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess there's some thoughts to it, but 1 second.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's one of the guys from the job I just got fired from, so
okay.
he can go to voicemail.
Hey, come back.
No, it's not a guy that can do that. It's
Okay.
it's another guy who doesn't know I'm fired yet. You know, and I'm sure the guys are going to be like, "Really? You fired Sherry, and then you rehired Charlie, and now you fired Charlie. You're going to rehire Sherry, and you know, is Jasmine going to be in charge now?" And they don't know, but you know, the guy doesn't know how to run a business. That's what I can tell you. And he blames people for not running his business better. And the thing is, we tell him, we have to follow up on this. We have to do this. He goes, yeah, I'll get it. I got to check something. I got to look at something. I got to do something. Because he just doesn't actually want to do his job. That's my world. You know, let me just take this real quick. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, everyone. What Charlie doesn't know is I am secretly pranking him and calling him.
What's up?
No, I'm not really.
I got fired today, but what do you need?
I don't know if we should be listening in on this, but okay.
I don't know. I told him to leave it outside. Is there a place you normally leave things outside?
Hold on.
What?
I will mute Charlie Esser so we don't listen in on his conversation. But yeah, big announcement while we're waiting for Charlie. On the Capes and Lunatics, we've been putting out so much content that we're going to, starting soon, by the time you hear this podcast, we're going to have a second quote-unquote podcast, the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks, where you get all of our like review shows like Wade's World and Newcastle Crew and Charlie Esser's Netflix reviews.
And we're back, yeah. Oh, okay, sorry about that. If I didn't answer the phone, he's going to be calling me all night.
That's all right. I did some promotions and I muted you so we didn't hear your business.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyway, so this guy gets kicked out of the universe, and because Mama dumped it out because you weren't drinking it. Talk to Mama. Ben had his soda dumped out because he had just left it there. So now he's upset because he wasn't done with his soda. Daddy? Yes. Anyway, so our Grandmaster. Yes.
Good. No, good. Keep going. I thought you were done.
Our Grandmaster is mad because the other guy thought of calling himself Grandmaster first. And not for nothing. It seems like whoever had just thought of it could have had the title. Because it's not like we're given this establishment that, you know, the Grandmaster always loses to this guy.
Yeah.
It seems like they're very much supposed to be like
even.
Because otherwise, you know, I don't think Grandmaster would have been able to win it the way he did. I think they've always been even. And I think it was like, oh, yeah, we're all coming up with... And it's like, and of course, you know, the Grandmaster's like, oh, yeah, we're just all coming up with names. You know, it's cool. You know, he's the gardener. He's the collector. I'm the Grandmaster. Maybe you can be the competitor.
Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I would have just called myself, well, I'm going to be the super amazing master.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the even better master, the greatest master. I'm going to just one-up you on my title, or we can just both agree we're both Grandmasters. That's a good name. We should both be Grandmasters. We should be the Grandmasters.
The big mystery I want answered is from my interview with Mark Wade. Scroll down. He said he's gonna be working on something new after, I guess, this storyline. So at first we were talking Black Panther. I was like, oh, is it Black Panther? But maybe it's that. Maybe it's this mysterious character that's coming back, Hulk.
Oh, maybe
he has written Hulk before. So.
Oh, Hulk coming back. Oh, you mean yes, the Return of the Hulk.
Yeah, he said he's writing something new coming. Oh no, I think he did say it's not something he's worked on before, so it can't be Hulk.
It's the new Gwenpool Adventures. I'm sorry, Valerie Vector's Adventures.
Maybe.
Through the comic sphere.
Speaking of Wade, did you read Captain America?
Yes, I did read Captain America. Kamandi, the Last Boy on Earth.
Steve Rogers, Last Boy on Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I enjoyed it. It's just, you know what it is? It's kind of weird because first off, it's kind of like it reminds me a lot of Dimension Z.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a Dimension Z vibe. It doesn't seem like enough time has passed for what has theoretically changed in the world.
Oh yeah, because it was only like 7 years or something.
Well, this is 2025, so yeah, it's 7 years.
Yeah,
and it's like, at first, because she keeps on calling him Bomb Pop, and I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be a hint, because obviously, if this is this far-flung future, there's no way that someone could know what a Bomb Pop was. But then it's like, no, it's 2025. I don't know. First off, here's what I'm going to say. I don't think this is real.
Oh, no?
I don't think this is real. I think this is, in some way or another, some other plot to try and mess with Steve Rogers' mind. Because, not for nothing. Okay, even if it is real, it's not like he can go back in time and stop it. Like if it gets a Doom time platform or whatever, he can't really do that. Because first off, that means that we'll have two Captain Americas because he's still there frozen.
Well, it's always that thing. Can he go back like a second after he was frozen or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, he can do any number of things, but it seems unlikely. Basically, it's too much, in my opinion, it's too much, such a short period of time, for it to really be real. Yeah. Even in a world with mutants and hobgoblins and things of that nature. And speaking of hobgoblins, there was... Well, actually, because I wanted to talk about both Doctor Strange this week and last week's Amazing Spider-Man featuring Loki.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I got to read that today. I actually caught up on my reading today. Maybe that's why I got fired. I don't know. It was a slow day. And, and the guy, it was a slow day. Life continues. He can drive his car off the cliff. Or his business off the cliff. That's it. Not literally, figuratively. But yeah, so I really liked The Amazing Spider-Man of Loki. Loki grants his boon. The boon that someone wrote about in some write-in to CBR. Hey, doesn't Loki owe him a boon? And it was a real interesting question. And so of course here Loki decides to make good on the boon. And Peter Parker uses it to turn back time to save one person. And then you find out that, which I love, just the idea that Loki actually set Pete up the whole time, as Loki does. And I like this because even though we get a reveal in Doctor Strange, everything feels very true to Loki, but also true to a Loki trying to make good for the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to be, much like Doctor Doom, much like Dr. Octopus, trying to be a hero, even though what he knows how to be is a villain.
Yeah.
And that is what we're going to get at the end, and that's what we're getting at the end of Marvel 2-in-1, where the Mad Thinker decides he will become the new Reed Richards and will create his own Fantastic Four.
See what Doom started.
Otto did it first, and everyone's following along. And we'll see what happens next. I'm wondering who's going to be in his team. I'm thinking he's going to pick up Sharon Ventura because he needs a thing.
Mm.
And she's available, and she's got a criminal record, so she'll work with Mad Thinker, sure. I mean, and then I figure, he might get Volcana. I'd love to see Volcana come back for the Human Torch.
Or, I mean, unless he goes the complete opposite, where he saw Hydro Man this issue, unless he goes Hydro Man.
I hope not. Because Hydro Man, and that was Hydro Man threatening Wolverine at the end of this episode. And Wolverine schnickting. Basically said, what are you doing?
Like,
he's made of water. What are you going to do with your blades, Wolverine? Really? It's like, what really are you going to do in this scene? Most likely what's going to happen is, Hydro Man will say, oh, man, I just have something to eat, man. I'm hungry. You can't hurt me. I can't hurt you because I can't drown you or nothing, but...
And did you see the other Where's Wolverine scene from Avengers this week?
Oh, yeah. Where was he? He was in Peru.
Peru, yeah. I guess wasn't he frozen like the other Avengers?
Was he? No, I didn't.
I don't know. It was hard to tell because I thought he looked kind of blue, but like caught one.
I thought that was just his glowy stone.
That's the thing. I don't know. It was hard, Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it doesn't.
It's a comic. It's hard to tell if he's in motion or not.
Yeah, you know what? He's not. He's not because he's on the same step in the first scene that he is in the second scene.
Yeah.
So he's frozen too. So even the magical Infinity Stone can't defeat whatever it is, Grandmaster and Grandmaster, other guy,
what?
Grandmaster and the Challenger can't seem to fix.
But I mean, what did you think about Loki telling Doctor Strange? He's like, I was doing this to make you better because there's all kinds of stuff coming. He said,
"Yeah, well, it's like his fourth answer." The
War of the Realms, Hell on Earth, Damnation, which comes next week, I believe. The Gathering of the Infinity Stones, and the Final Host.
Dun, dun, dun. Final Host, yay! Good old Celestials. Sure, why not? Why not a Final Host of Celestials? Everyone loves the Celestials. I liked it, but I liked it because he kept on changing his story. And what I loved about him constantly changing his story, and I think this is what Loki would tell you, is that everything I said was true and none of what I said was true.
I think that was the whole gist of it, yeah.
Yeah, I am making my own story here, but it doesn't matter because I'm giving you back your cloak, Doctor Strange. We fixed magic, and you can now maybe try and not screw up the universe anymore. They locked the void back up.
Yeah.
Which I guess is good.
And the Sentry's all mad at him.
Yeah, he'll get over it. Like we said, Although, that is actually, and that brings me to what was actually my favorite book I read this week. Gwenpool.
Ooh.
So as you know, Gwenpool is dealing with the fact that she is about to be canceled, and she doesn't know what's going to happen to her when she gets canceled. And they have this big plan where they're going to rob Chance. Chance, the Spider-Man villain who's probably died a couple times, I think. But I remember the last time he got brought back. He got brought back to do something, then it didn't go well. But so Chance has opened up a floating casino, literally floating above New York City.
Yeah.
And what I like about this, there's just some very interesting bits in this, where you have Gwenpool and Batroc working together, because Gwenpool, she's going to be a villain, and Batroc is trying to help her be a villain. And they're basically knocking over Chance's casino. And they're going to steal all these Bitcoin, but then they realize that they're not actually Bitcoin, they're bars of gold. So Gwenpool grabs his bars of gold, puts them in bags, and then just starts throwing them off panel. Although before that, it's great because they have Batroc kick in a safe, and they manage to keep it quiet by Gwenpool grabbing all the sound effects, which is ridiculous but beautiful in its own way. And you get this great scene at the end. So they do all they do, and they escape. And Gwenpool starts to feel not only bad for herself, but realizing, she feels real bad. And she tells, Batroc, he says, I'm sorry you're not going to be like this much longer. Because it turns out that basically Batroc was like, you kept on saying you wanted to be a villain. You wanted to be a villain. So I put you on a heist. I helped you pull off this heist. But, you didn't hurt anybody. You just stole from another criminal. It's okay. And they're saying, I do a lot of bad things, but, that doesn't mean everything I do is bad. But that doesn't make me a bad person. And she gets very emotional because she realizes that after he's not in her book, some other writer is going to write him back as some, third string joke again, which I don't think is going to happen because I think a lot of writers have been trying to build up Batroc for a couple of years now, make him a better, more well-rounded superhero. So that's my take on it. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, yes.
Oh, well, I was going to say, speaking of Gwenpool, did you read Deadpool 294?
I did not get the chance to, no.
Madcap, he finally runs into Madcap again. And if you remember one of those crazy as always. But if you remember one of those last huge issues of Deadpool, he made a deal with the Collector to come get Madcap, which he did. And Deadpool's like, you're gonna spend your whole life as one of his exhibits. And Madcap's like, oh, space, I want to go there. He's like, oh, you've given me like a new, you've given me something like a great gift, Deadpool. Thanks. Like this, I don't know what life's gonna bring. Now the future's all full of promise. Like Madcap seems all happy about, going and and then as they're like the Collector and Madcap are blinking out, he says to Deadpool, he says, I was a fool to think I could destroy you any better than you could. Ciao.
Yeah. Yeah, Deadpool can't destroy himself, hard as he tries. And you know why? Because he's too dang popular.
But
just ask Gwenpool.
But and of course, I'm always raving about Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider.
And what happens this week with Scarlet Spider?
Well, the big one of the main the big main stories features Kane, but there's a shorter story with but I guess Ben Reilly the Slingers told Dusk of the Slingers told him Quentin Beck was living in Vegas, Mysterio. So I don't know why Ben shows up in a ski mask and forces his way into Mysterio's house. And Mysterio's like, wait a minute, I recognize that voice. He's like, Spider-Man, you found me. And he's like, Ben's like, what are you doing in Vegas? What's your big plot? Tell me. And he's like, Mysterio says, I'm retired. And because Ben's like, oh, you faked your death. He's like, no, I really died. He's like, you beat me. Daredevil beat me. He's like, even Deadpool ran me over with a dune buggy. He says, I died and now I'm back and I just want to retire. He says, I actually died. Now I just want to live a good life. That's all I want. But I suppose you could never understand that. And Ben's like, you'd be amazed what I could understand about that.
Aww.
So I wonder if that's some kind of it's gonna tie into Damnation. I wonder if Mephisto brought certain characters back, like villains and stuff.
Well, I don't know, but I know that in the last episode of Falcon escapes heck, and
that was also this week. Yeah,
maybe the doors got left open. Maybe. Although, as they've said before, I remember there was a whole thing where basically, about people coming back from the dead and the random qualities of it, and all these. I remember it was an incredible Hercules episode where they go into the realm of the dead and it's Pluto's, but it's a giant casino. Everyone's just sitting at a slot machine because it's randomly paid out. And they had Janet Van Dyne there when she was supposedly dead for a while. She said, "Come on, they let Bucky come back. They gotta let me come back."
Well, I wonder. There must be some. I'm thinking there's some big conspiracy with Mephisto because the whole Damnation thing starts this week coming up. So that's a big Mephisto thing. And then what was I going to say? Oh, and then remember last week, and you were talking about the Amazing Spider-Man with Loki in it, and like Loki was saying, I can turn back time and give you back your fortune and everything, and Peter was like, no, he's like, I can't really remember, but I think I've done that before and it didn't work out too well.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it didn't. Oh, although of course I like what we get at the end of that episode, where, I don't get why Norman Osborn wants to be crazy again.
I think he thinks it's compromised his fighting ability for some strange reason.
But the whole point of him being sane was, I'll be so much more of a threat sane than I ever was crazy.
But he doesn't have that goblin strength. I don't know if he got used to fighting with the goblin formula.
Why is he fighting people?
Because he's Norman freaking Osborn. That's what he does.
Yes, but it's like,
hey, that's like asking why does Trump fight with people on Twitter?
No. Fighting people on Twitter, that's something else.
Oh, are you saying hand to hand?
Yeah, why is he fighting people hand to hand? Why?
He's a doer.
Lex Luthor pulls out the suit on occasion, but really, usually he has someone else go punch Superman in the nards. I mean,
I don't know. I guess Spider-Man just brings that out in him. I don't know.
I guess so. I'm thinking maybe he wasn't as sane as he thought.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Maybe he's still crazy, but now he just doesn't have the goblin strength.
Yeah, he's still crazy. He just doesn't recognize it anymore. I don't know. Either way, that's a story that happened. Now he's the Red Goblin. He's Carnage, which okay.
It's like Dan Slott's final. That's the thing. Didn't they show a preview? It looks like maybe Spider-Man and Mary Jane might be getting back together because I guess Slott said the whole time he's been on Spider-Man since 2008. As long as he's there, Peter and Mary Jane aren't getting back together, but he's done in like 6 issues or something.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh, sorry, one more Amazing Spider-Man Annual 42.
Mm-hmm.
They brought some characters back, and it wasn't Mephisto. That darn clone conspiracy.
Wait, who got brought back from the clone conspiracy?
Well, everyone, but the original Enforcers.
Oh, okay.
And I saw a spoiler. I think it was CBR. So spoiler alert: Ned Leeds, even though no one knows he's alive, Ned Leeds is back.
So wait, so like a bunch of the clones actually survived the clone conspiracy?
I guess because like even Peter was like, he's like, because Betty thought she got a call from like the ghost of her husband Ned Leeds, and Peter was like, I saw him melt, he's dead, and but he couldn't tell her that. But then at the end they reveal that he's actually alive.
Yeah. Well, I thought in that he had called her when he escaped, and or they made it a little
call, but then Peter thought he died after, or decomposed or whatever after that. But no, they show he's alive. Oh, you'll enjoy this. They have to sneak into City Hall, and they run into your buddy, the Wilson Fisk. Oh,
good old Mayor Fisk. Yeah, well, he is a man of the people. When the heroes abandoned New York, who kept it all together? Wilson Fisk. Well, he was a great man. But I told you, your mom threw it away because she thought you were done with it. You talked to your mom about it. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. That was comic books this week. A lot of good ones. Mm-hmm. And The Incredibles 2. And then there's this little art film called The Black Panther coming out. It's out. I don't think I can go to it tomorrow because I have a sick kid. So I will not be, sadly, participating in the all-new Capes and Lunatics Roundup review of it. I'm sad.
My kid will be on his deathbed not to go. He's all excited. I think we're going.
Yeah, it's not my kid who likes superheroes. So it's my kid who.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah.
The other one. That's fine. Everyone has their things. But.
I think the first showing is like to 10 a.m. He's like, let's get there at 8 a.m. I'm like, I don't know if they're even open. I'm like, it only takes us like 20, 30 minutes to get there, and we don't need to get there 2 hours early. So
you can have Luca take my spot.
Yes.
Luca, the Professor Perich.
Be like, it was a good? Yeah! And we're like, yeah!
There you go. I am very sad to miss it. I am hoping I'll get to see it next week, and I can tell you guys what I thought about it then. So yay!
Spoiler alert. I guess Tyler saw it last night. He texted me and he said it might be his favorite Marvel movie.
Well, I can see that. Everyone likes it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said before, for what it's worth, there is this argument where they always said, if we're going to do it, it has to be done right. It has to be done right. Because if we don't do it right, everyone's going to say, well, of course you can't do a film with a black protagonist. Of course you can't do a film with a woman protagonist.
Yeah.
And when they've done these films, they did it right. And they get all of these rave reviews. You know, these people saying, well, why didn't you do it years ago? And, you know, I guess their answer is because we had to get it just right. We weren't going to open with a subpar. We weren't going to let people, because, you know, they don't want to have people say, oh, you made a bad Black Panther film. You didn't give it enough resources. You didn't give it enough time to grow. You didn't, you know, you were too meddling on it. You were something. They were going to find reasons to say why Marvel screwed it up and not just it was a bad movie. And then other people would say, well, we can't make black superhero films anymore because they all failed. So I think what they did was they made Luke Cage first intentionally to test their waters. Just like Jessica Jones was testing the waters. Can we do this female-driven story?
Oh,
you know?
Wait a second. Wait, you just reminded me of something we can talk about. I almost forgot. Because you mentioned Luke Cage, which reminded me of Defenders, which reminded me of the Defenders comic, which reminded me of Bendis. He's what is it? Is he writing the Kitty Pryde movie?
Oh yeah, he's writing a Kitty Pryde movie. Yeah.
So
okay.
He's writing Superman in comics now. He's going to be writing the Kitty Pryde movie.
Yeah, well, why not? I mean,
truly the man who swings both ways.
Well,
Bendis swings both ways. Mark.
Well, I'm sure the guy, you know, I mean, we all know that he really likes the character of Kitty Pryde. We'll see if this is in the Fox. Actually, you know what I want to know? I want to know if it'll be in the Deadpool-averse.
Yeah, I wonder, because like if
you're going to do Kitty Pryde and Colossus, you got to do it with Deadpool's Colossus.
That's true, because they haven't confirmed. Yeah, they haven't said if it's Ellen Page yet or not. So yeah, could be either way. And Kitty and Colossus are getting married soon in the comics. So yeah,
well, it doesn't have to be a Kitty Pryde we've already seen.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm.
We didn't see Kitty Pryde in the Deadpool film.
Yeah, so it could be the Deadpool Kitty Pryde, or it could be
Yeah, well, like I said, and I would imagine they're going to cast someone new.
So do you think maybe after Dark Phoenix they might kind of like shut down like that version of the X-Men universe and kind of like soft reboot it through Deadpool? Universe?
Entirely possible. I mean, they've already soft rebooted Colossus, but that was like what, the fourth guy to play Colossus in the series?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean,
the first time he wasn't even Russian, you know.
I know, yeah.
He's just some big beefy teen guy, you know, which is great, you know. World needs beefy teens too, and you know, yeah. But they've you know, so yeah, I can totally see them doing that. It makes sense. If nothing else, you get to do an older, more established X-Men franchise, which I think they want to do. You know, going back to the kids, it's not always easy. You can get the kids for cheap, but it's harder stories to tell, I think.
Well, I mean, I don't know if that formula was ever going to be believable. It's like, you know, ever since First Class, they've been like jumping decades, and you know, your actors aren't aging that quickly as you know, if you jump every 10 years.
Well, yeah, but it's easier to make a character look older than to make him look younger.
True.
And they can always say, well, they're mutants, so mutants stay young forever, stay younger longer, you know.
Yeah.
Except for Caliban. Again, another character like our third iteration of Caliban.
Yeah.
You know, really in the X-Men universe, they really just come up. They really have no worries recasting people. You know, especially if you weren't that central to the story in the first place, of which Kitty Pryde has never been. There's never really been a Kitty Pryde story. Oh, and speaking of Kitty Pryde, who's coming back for the Kitty Pryde Colossus wedding?
Oh, I don't think I read the why. Who? Oh,
Claremont.
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that today. Claremont. I guess he's writing the wedding issue.
Oh yeah, because he's the one who came up with Kitty. You know, first brought Kitty Pryde in.
Yeah, he's
when Colossus met her when she was, I think, 13 or something.
To be fair, he was probably 18. It's still creepy. Yeah, you're right. Well, you know what? You could actually say he was 16.
Okay.
Which is slightly less creepy. Although they weren't dating at that point. They probably didn't date for like another year or two.
Well.
And, people have sliding ages in comics. So you can start out at like 13 and then very quickly become 18 in the comics. Because if you're young enough, they'll let you age in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, if you're too young, then you never age at all, like poor old Franklin Richards. You can only age like as your future self coming back in time.
Or if you have a healing factor like Wolverine, yeah, I'm 900 years old, but I don't look it.
Yeah, well, he's not. Well, I guess
he's not 900. I'm exaggerating, but yeah, he's like 200 or something.
Yeah. Oh, I read Old Man Hawkeye too. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Old Man Hawkeye's neat. I like that book. Although I thought it was an interesting bit they did with the Hammer residents.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of felt that was supposed to be like some kind of weird reference to the Enforcers, because Hammer Harrison was like one of the second round of Enforcers, and then of course they said we got two big boys as strong as oxen. Because like who says that? Except for Ox, So that was my take on that. Those were actually Ox's kids who got murdered.
And we got the orb.
Oh, we got the orb. I love the orb. And the orb made it through just fine, Good old orb. I like the orb. The orb is like one of my favorite randomized characters ever since he was in that run with Doctor Strange after he got the Watcher eye, and he just really went nuts because he could just see too much.
Yeah.
I love the orb. He's great.
It's crazy. It's nuts. I was waiting for a joke about an arrow through the eye or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's all there is to talk about this week, Philip.
Yeah, I mean, we got through a lot of comics this week, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, there wasn't anything else to talk about. Oh, hey, I live tweeted Legends of Tomorrow last week, and I haven't been able to get freaking Pix 11 back yet.
That's all right. I think, I don't know if, I was going to say, this week coming up, I think the Legends is the only thing on. I think Black Lightning might even be on break this week coming up.
Yeah, that's okay. But I've got channels, so I can live tweet things. And look, I'm not getting cable back anytime soon, so we'll see what happens next. Ladies.
Well, I'm sorry. I was going to say the next episode of Legends of Tomorrow, they get stuck in a time loop, I think, where the ship keeps blowing up. And I was like, Next Generation did it first.
Yeah, well, that's how time loops work, yeah. Okay, Philip. Philip, someone would like to reach out to you and talk to you about all the wonders of the world. How can they find you?
I can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And you could always email the Capes and Lunatics, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. And our voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And keep your eye out for Capes and Lunatics sidekicks, like I was saying before when Charlie Esser was
dealing with stuff.
Yes.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way that we are Moz Impossible instead at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Legends of Tomorrow, and anything else that comes in on my television when I feel like tweeting. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser, for the two E's in the middle for quality. Thank you for connecting with us, ladies and gentlemen. Please connect with us again. Good night.
Moment of silence, but I don't know what we're doing a moment of silence for.
Well, lots of things.